And welcome to the application runtime deployments working group meeting. We have quite good number of topics this time, having in mind that we are in a vacation period. The first one is from Johan, if I'm not wrong, the PR.
Yeah, that one is
Mhm.
merged and reviewed, so all done.
So, all right. The second one is related to the IPv6 security groups for public networks. Oliver have added this topic. Not sure, Oliver, you or Milena can share.
Depends on Milena. Do you want or should I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first thing we need to decide is whether this security group changes that we are going to apply are going to be in a separate ops file, or they will be within all of the changes. I mean, this is the PR that I already open, but yesterday we had a discussion about this because all of the other changes are anyhow related to, I mean, the other as they another components right now are putting their changes related to the IPv6, and most of their changes are true false statements. I mean, whether this should somewhere something should be set to true or false. And in our case, this is changing in values. This is like just one of the things that is in favor of doing it in a separate file. The other one is if the user of the component is wants to apply its own ranges, and we in this matter we enable him to have it on a separate place and apply them in one place, not to mix it with other configurations that should be enabled anyhow in order for IPv6 to work. So this is the first, let's say, dilemma. The other thing, so as we haven't specified any other ranges apart from these wide ranges we have, and as you know, this is very permissive. The question is, do we need some additional, let's say, addresses that we need to secure? I mean, those one that uses Bosch component, Diego, and any other ranges that needs to be disallowed, and to have it to have, let's say, a restriction for them, or to have it open for the user to decide. I mean, well, this is the range. Have in mind that this opens up all of the traffic for everything in your system, so be aware of that and change it accordingly. And the most interesting part will be what will be the best way to ship any changes that override the default behavior. I mean, in order to secure the user additionally. Yeah, actually, these are the three questions we primarily discussed with.
So, I mean, the idea of all this security group exercises that you restrict access to the local private IP networks so that your applications cannot try to communicate directly with I don't know, with internal Cloud Foundry components. I do not have any idea how the new IPv6 Bosch Cloud config will look like and in which IPv6 ranges the Cloud Foundry components will be deployed. Have you tried to get some input from the Bosch team?
From Bosch team, no, I tried to get from Alex, but what I understand from him is that we shouldn't look at IPv4 as IPv6, and there will be ranges that will be per landscape. I mean, there will be concrete ranges that will be, let's say, restricted, and they will be regarding to landscapes. They will be different. This is one thing. And the other thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I understand from him is that they want to make this dynamic. I mean, the IPv ranges won't be static. I mean, the one that are going to be, let's say, secured. And on this should be applied dynamically. I mean, when I guess the landscape is up and the ranges will be gathered from somewhere else, I guess AWS, and based on this, we will apply these changes to the security groups that needs to be restricted.
Maybe some additional words to that. We had a discussion with Alex now, and actually we wanted to have the IP address ranges defined that we should exclude from him. He is a little bit pushing back and saying that we should talk this in the community here and get an opinion from the community. I already said to Alex that also in our IID working group community, there are no IPv6 experts, and we can give it a try, but I don't expect that we get here much feedback. No? Feedback welcome if you have some ideas. But as of now, the question is, as first of all, it's clear that we, as it is 2000::/3, this is the complete IPv6 address range, the public address range, and it is already clear that we have to exclude from this broad IP addresses some sub-internally. And one of the main questions that Alex had towards us in the community is now, do we see something similar that we have to exclude IP address ranges as part of the community release?
Well, the crucial part is the new Bosch Cloud config. As long as we don't have that, we can only guess what we have to exclude and what not. Yeah, so if someone can present a working IPv6 Bosch Cloud config, then we know more.
Yeah. I said that the point from Alex was more or less if we can go with the range of 2000::/3 in the community, that we add this one to the community, but have it differently sub inside. No? Or if we also, let's say, have in the community release, this is what I'm also thinking about, if we need in the community release already a mechanism where we can exclude somehow a disallow listener. Basically, that the point is, in the security group definition, you can also define the allow listener. There is no possibility to have a disallow listener. This means
it's only allow list.
Yeah, this means when the Bosch team somehow said, okay, I have an IP address range that should not be exposed as public network, then we need this as input, and then we have to calculate based off the complete range minus this what should be excluded to generate then the so to say the white listener that we can add then to the security group. No? This could be done with a small, as if you have the to be excluded IP address ranges in an array, then this could be calculated via Python script to generate then the so to say whitelist. No, this is something that could be done. It's a little bit the question where. If we think on SAP side, we can do it for example in the CF deployment. It can also be done maybe on a layer deeper if the infrastructure team or Bosch knows the list, they can maybe execute such a list and then export it to the context file, and we just take
export it. Yes.
And we just take it, no? And then we can create, and this is what Milena mentioned, that we create then the security dynamically, because from Alex we know this could also differ from landscape to landscape. Also the IP address ranges that should be excluded. There may be difference between public cloud and regulated markets, private cloud. So this is something dynamically, no? Also we cannot, define something fixed in a static YAML file with the IP address ranges. Now it must be then somehow dynamically calculated. And the first point maybe, as this was important for Alex, if we need such an exclusion mechanism as well in the community already release, or calculation mechanism, or if we just go in the community that we say, okay, we just create a security group with this large range with 2000 columns /3, and that's it. This opens up everything, and then we can do something similar like for IPv4 in the documentation. There were also these public network ranges in the CF deployment YAML, but it's explained somehow as an example, no? And the documentation is, so to say, made clear that this example or these default values should not be used in a productive environment, but must be then overwritten, for example, by an operations file, no? If you use it productively. No? But there, maybe your opinion, Stefan and Jochen, is also helpful if you think if you can, or if you can say anything. Maybe you cannot say anything because you don't know, you are not deep enough in the topic. That's also okay.
I would not overcomplicate. I do not too much about IPv6, but at the end of the day, we are talking about an experimental ops file for CF deployment, right? We are not talking about right now. The PR is an experimental ops file. Experimental means you can change it at any time whenever there is additional knowledge coming on the table. And then this is just an example, and it doesn't mean that the configuration in CF deployment, especially when it's experimental, has to be used by productive deployments. So for the security groups, we don't use the community configuration, because at least in the beginning there were some internal systems that should be excluded additionally, and then there are address ranges for service fabric, etc. Of course, all this can't be in the community. So maybe that's a weak argument in the direction of separating the definition of IPv6 security groups in one ops file and the basic configuration in a different one. Of course, it also means if you enable IPv6 and you haven't configured security groups, then basically nobody can use them for egress. And then make just a proposal, no matter what it is. You can exaggerate a bit by either opening up everything, or you could also do the other way. You close everything and say, oh, it's not open. And when the Bosch team knows the setup and has a cloud config for standard bubble environments, then we can continue with the definition. Then you are unblocked, you have something merged. It has either everything open or everything closed. It doesn't matter so much. You can toss a coin at the moment, because there is no additional knowledge. Whatever you decide will probably be wrong and has to be revisited once. The remaining parts, the Bosch implementation especially, is done. And when they know in which address range the Bosch VMs will go, then you can calculate such an exclusion range similar to what was done in IPv4. And then, write a sentence that this is an example, and in productive deployments that has to be reviewed.
Maybe it's actually really a good idea having this experimental ops file. Maybe we start with opening up the complete IP range. It's experimental, no? So to say, and then in parallel, as then we have something that can also be used in the community for the validation tests that we have in the CUTS test, no? To run those validations. In parallel, inside SAP, we can then work on the concrete details for the SAP landscapes and collect their experience. And then at a certain time, when we maybe switch the experimental ops file to a productive ops file, then we can add this exclusion list or those changes. No? And
But again, I think the exclusion list in the community will be a different one than the exclusion list at SAP. And the exclusion list of SAP has somebody to bring up who knows our address layout and has knowledge. So here I would take the hands off the keyboard and say, either you provide it or there won't be any egress. Please go ahead. It's your project plan. Alex.
No.
And then Alex has to organize it, and probably he will not define, but then he has to talk to Krum or to whomever knows it. I mean, there are some experts with IPv6 at SAP, and they should come up with something.
Some point. For now, no.
But then you unblock the validation in the community, and I think that's the biggest concern at the moment, right? That we get the cuts running, and that
Exactly. Yeah. Otherwise, we cannot run the cuts now. It does not work if we open up here at least some ports.
Is a Bosch part meanwhile ready or not?
They are working basically on this IPv6 prefix stuff. They opened 3 PRs on the community, but they are already since more than 2 weeks open. And this should be then, so to say, the final part when they have merged this, that we can then update our bubble environment in the community for the IPv6 validation.
They must ship a new Bosch deployment, and that must be updated in Bosch bootloader and also released, and then we have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
add 4 weeks just for release and shipment engineering. Yeah.
So,
then
as you mentioned, oh, sorry, Stefan.
Yeah, then go with all open right now and close a few ranges as soon as the Bosch team, as you can as they can point you to the definition of their IP ranges, because it must be in some source code, right, in cloud configs, etc. And then you have it in
when we have a
writing.
cloud config, we know more. Yes. So then just try to finish this pull request. It's in draft mode still, right? Yeah.
It's draft mode because I didn't want to urge for any kind of security groups which I'm not aware of that they should be there or should not be there. I mean, this was just the Alex's proposal for this page.
Yeah, well, so I guess it's the best we have.
Yeah, you could even add a comment into this ops file and say this, just point to it. It will open up everything. It's insecure, not to be used in production. Then it's transparent and.
There's one addition since today because Milena took the shortcut and talked to the CF Runtime team because we detected that they opened up another operations file where they set properties for IPv6 enablement for CF Runtime. But our idea or the ask back was why they have now other ops files, no? And maybe it's good to have just one, this experimental ops file, where they add also their properties and then they open. Maybe we can share these other pull requests. They opened now a PR where they now added as well from their former ops file and put their properties now also into this ops file. I think this would be even better now, so that we don't have so many ops files for IPv6 enablement on the different components. Also maybe Dimitar, you are sharing, or can you
yes
on the pull requests?
If you can send the pull request or
maybe in the CF deployment, the pull requests that are already
the same repo pull request.
Same repo, okay.
And then if you click the first one,
exactly.
Click on that, and then
3 hours. Oh, okay.
It's brand new.
Lamen darauf. Okay, and this is just some. Well, yeah, of course, that should also go into the. Yeah.
Actually, I did, additionally talked with Alex about this, and he said that, as he mentioned, these settings are potentially still in flux, not 100% sure that the prefix networks configuration is already complete with this PR, but we only find out when we set up them and the ops files enabled. That's why it's experimental. We will iterate until it's correct. Don't believe we will get it right on the first try.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
But regarding to the question that whether the security groups should be in a separate file or within this experimental file.
I mean, usually if what I do, if I cannot decide, I take the simpler solution. Less files, start with one, and if there will be feedback, maybe it takes some validation steps, etc., that we should have two. It's still experimental. You can split it up.
Okay.
I think it's
I think maybe it's actually even currently better to keep it in one file so that we have the complete overview in this one file.
it's
and
fine
then
for
it's a
now.
quick thing to separate
Yeah.
out later.
They forgot the isolated Diego cells. Yeah, I'll comment on that.
Mhm.
If you have isolation segments, you have additional Diego cells with different name, and for that you need an extra ops file. Okay,
Something's missing. Should I ask someone?
I'll comment on this pull request. It's not super critical, but if you use isolation segments, you need an additional set of ops files typically. I'll comment, so no need for action now.
Okay.
Good.
Anything else?
Just
Yeah.
one thing that we already discussed this with Johan about the security groups, that for now the testing part about the security groups is not relevant because we have only one security groups and nothing predefined. So for now, I won't be trying again with the security groups. At least while trying, I was understanding another thing or two for the security groups, but for now I will leave this PR or I will just close it.
Actually, there we have our validation pipeline, and your CATS test will fail for the egress validation as long as this ops file is still not
It will do just as long
deployed.
as Bosch is not ready.
Yeah, these are the preconditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I meant the cuts just for the security groups I was trying on. That was irrelevant, I guess.
Good.
Okay. And last but not least is the cost reduction activities. Johan already started here with one of the bubble environments. We have a document to follow. And now we have two backlog items to switch all bubble environments in our working group to US East region, and also to migrate the concourse and the pipelines in our group to US East region. Any concerns here or comments after commented in the review meeting?
No, not more specifically. Maybe it's just we want to tag the bubble environment for just housekeeping. But maybe and the other thing is maybe first we migrate the concourse and then the bubble environment. But yeah, somehow similar topic, but yeah, different paths. And I won't say I don't have any other questions. It's just
Migrate. Yes.
Sorry, no.
Yeah, go ahead, off top.
It's just about the because we have two environments mostly. We use GCP and we use the AWS. I think so. We have only 3 accounts for AWS to migrate, and the US East one, if I'm not wrong, they are the same one for both the region names for the GCP and AWS. Or I need to cross check, but
wait, for AWS, it was not really clear if a migration makes sense, right? Didn't someone? I asked someone if AWS is really cheaper in US East. It's not, right?
This is I don't know. I have back
We
then
don't
only
know.
checked in GCP, but usually it's
okay.
yeah.
So let's
And
then do the GCP only for
Alright.
now. That's
yeah. There's
And,
another small cost aspect if you have stuff running in a different region, but it's for AWS anyway the case. And there are the network stuff is more expensive because it is counted as external network and not as internal network. But this will happen anyway, no matter where. If you go from GCP to AWS, it's external network.
All right. Okay, then at least it's good to know that it's GCP only. Okay.
Yeah, and then you can go to the cost calculator and just see if it makes sense or not. Yeah.
I think so. I just checked it, and for the GCP Europe Node 3 was the cheapest one. But in the end of the day, we also have to look at the issue with the capacity. Also, some of the zones or regions are majority of the time hits with the capacity that they are not available, and then you have to wait and then re-trigger it again. But if I think so, Johan already did it, migrated for their own, and it works fine. Then I think so. US East one is good for the GCP's environments.
Yeah, so migrating the bubble environments is pretty much straightforward. Not much that can go wrong. Migrating the concourse is a bit more sophisticated because you have to be careful with some of the backed up data, but it's also now described in detail.
Yeah, I think so. It's a very detailed documentation guide, I would say. So thank you for providing.
And if I'm not mistaken, only Harman is on AWS.
No, and FIPS and IPv6, Dobby.
All right.
So
there's no need to migrate them.
Right now, I would say no. I mean, we have soon a talk meeting again about cost saving. Then we can check again if it makes sense to migrate on AWS or, well, someone could check the price table. But for now, let's do the GCP and
and check for AWS.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to discuss? Except these 3 topics.
Yeah, well, we are cost saving. Can I quickly share?
Yes.
Then you have to unshare.
Stop share. Okay.
So this is the billing report. And you see July, I mean, of course, there's 1 week left in July, but still it looks surprisingly low, the cost. I actually don't know where this drop from June to July comes from. It's strange. Sorry?
Less work.
Less work. Okay, good. Yeah, that would be actually, we could count how often the pipeline was triggered. That would be an idea. Yeah, I mean, this one environment that we moved, this can't do very much. But yes, indeed, if there's less commits, then it's less cost. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. So if we then migrate our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 GCP environments, then it's another 20%. Yeah. Okay. Should we quickly go over last meetings items? There's
okay.
Yeah, there's 1 or 2 things left.
Last time.
The first one, this is this external blob store pull request. I asked the guy to check the error message. Yeah, will no update, and then someone or everyone can review. Yeah, okay, I requested changes and he didn't answer, so yeah. Then let's wait for now. Okay. MySQL 8 ops file can be removed. Has anyone this planned, Oliver?
Actually,
the 8.4 update, and now we can remove the 8.0 which is already empty or something.
I think, let me just check. I think this is maybe, I missed this. But now I'm aware again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can follow up on that. It's just the removal of this ops file, or the
I think so.
yeah.
Remove ops file test and Doku, and yeah, we'll update Doku. I think it's not more. Well, and of course check if it is used still in some pipeline. Likely not. Yeah.
But it's already merged, or this change?
This one is merged. Yeah, this is the 8.4, and it is, I think,
okay.
active. If we haven't forgotten to activate it in yeah, one of the environments, then this should be all done.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, the rest is access management. The rest is already done, except for the access management. So I asked Chris Clark, but he has not responded yet, how the GCP single sign-on was done. It was likely something in the, let me check. No, not here. Something with Microsoft Entra ID, how it is now called. From there, you can configure your single sign-on in GCP. Anyway, we have created. I've manually created some AWS accounts with, of course, new sets of usernames and passwords, and it's good enough. I think everyone can work with that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, so it's no need for more sophisticated solution. Yeah. Okay, yeah, good. This would then be all.
Yeah, we have a backlog item to cut releases regularly in our
Yes.
yeah,
fine.
So it is already done.
Yeah.
Super. Okay, thanks, Johan.
Okay.
Anyone else something to discuss in addition?
No, that's all.
All right, then thank you very much for the attendance and see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2
Bye.
weeks. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.